The city behind me was built entirely in vanilla and has everything that it needs to continue growing except for public transportation, but there are an overwhelming amount of options to choose from, especially if you have DLCs installed. So let me show you the simplest combination possible. We use a combination of transit types because each one covers different distances: short, medium, long. We are going to use buses to cover short trips, metros to cover medium, and trains to cover the long haul. And none of these require DLC. There is a tried and true method to combine these three transit types, and there's a very specific logic that goes with it. So let's get into it. I typically wait until I unlock Metro with Big Town to start my public transportation. Until then, I just make sure to follow road hierarchy and build pathways to help my traffic flow. To get started with Metro, zoom out and try to view your whole city at once, and picture loops or circles around your city covering a medium distance. You'll see an example on screen so you can know what I mean when I say a medium distance. So we're gonna have 3 metro loops for the city. We're gonna have one covering kind of this area, one covering this area, and one covering this area. A goal that you want to prioritize with these loops is to find somewhere where the loops can meet each other. In our case, either we could have all 3 loops meet together here in kind of the center, or we could have like these 2 meet somewhere along this way and these 2 meet somewhere in here. Zooming in, I think we have an area here where we could realistically get all 3 together. So let's aim for that. That's where we're going to start our metro placement. I'm gonna pause the game while we place everything so that we're not spending money on the metro while we're placing the metro. You guys know how to find public transit. It's in transport, and metro is this guy. Personally, especially for a setup like this, I am going to suggest using the underground metro station. It works really well with my playstyle because I don't place underground roads or highways really at all. This is what we're going to work with. We're gonna start where all 3 metros are going to meet. And I'm going to have that be, this is the university, right? So it makes sense to bring people to your university from all over. I have put all of the metro stations down, and let me walk you through why I did what. Rule number 1 of absolutely any transit station that you're putting anywhere, keep it off of the main road, any main road. So you'll see I've got 3 metro stations here. These are the 3 that we were just talking about that are going to meet here in the middle, and none of them are on a main road, so that if Billy comes out of this metro station and he decides that he doesn't want to walk anymore, he doesn't want to go do any more public transit, and he takes out his pocket car will not disrupt this main traffic flow. And that goes for any public transit that you're doing anywhere. Bus stops, train stations, blimps, whatever you're doing, don't put it on a main road, ever. Ever! Do you get it? You get it. Another conscious decision that I made while I was doing these was what the zoning is like where I am placing the metro stations. Metro stations produce noise. If you go to place one down, you'll see it has the orange ring around it, so that's where the noise is most likely to affect. So I try to keep my metro stations in either commercial, which is already going to be noisy, or surrounded by office to help dull the noise. There are some places, like over here, where I put down a metro station right there, and I dezoned the housing that was around it and rezoned it with office. So when I unpause, the housing will delete and the offices will go up around it. It's not perfect. Certainly there will still be some noise pollution, but it is a solution. Let's zoom out and click on the transport tab so that you can see these. I'm sorry for the bright white screen, but here are all of the stations that I've put down. I'm going to take a screenshot right here and then show you each loop drawn out with my fancy dancy paint program. And to try to explain what I've done is each loop considers where the workplaces are within the loop, where the housing is within the loop, and tries to bring as many people from housing to workplaces as possible. The emphasis, though, with the medium-sized transportation, which is what we're doing with the metro, is to get close to the workplaces. If we've missed any areas that are residential, that will come with the next step, so sit tight. Let me get these metro tracks drawn in, and then we'll get the lines done. Now that you see the tracks in game, it kind of demonstrates that even though we're calling these loops, they certainly don't need to be perfect circles. And now the final piece of the metro is to put one line in each loop going in each direction. So you will have eventually 2 lines. So that one goes clockwise, and then this next one goes counterclockwise or anti-clockwise all the way around. Let me do that for the other 2. Our lines are in, so we have 1 line going in each direction on all 3 loops. And the last thing that I want to show you about the metro is down here where we have the 3 metro stations that are close together. The goal is to have your citizens be able to come out of this metro station up here and very easily get to one of these 2, or vice versa, from this one to this one. You know the drill. So what I've done isn't necessarily the most aesthetically pleasing. You can always tinker with it to make it look better, but I really encourage you to have an elevated pathway or just a pathway that does not interact with the road at all between any metro stations that you have connecting. So that is the metro completed. Next up, to start combining things, we are going to get into buses. So I have already put down 2 bus depots, and after you've put down the bus depot, you can start creating bus lines. Here is where I'm actually teaching you something. Your goal with these bus lines is to go from a metro station and bring people from that metro station into the areas that the metro station doesn't cover. So this is a very easy example here. We're going to go from this metro station, and it's already not on a main road, and we're going to filter some bus stops through to areas that are nearby and are not covered by that metro station. So then I'm going to go here and back in. Because these bus lines are intended to be much shorter, you don't need one in either direction. If this guy wants to get from this metro station over to here, he's probably going to be willing to wait that little bit. The goal is definitely to keep the bus lines shorter though, so that that is realistic, and not to have too many stops on it for the same reason. So let's bring them from this metro station through to this area, again keeping off of the main roads anywhere possible. And honestly, that's going to be it for that one, just 3 stops. Now over here, we've kind of got 3 metro stations left, right? What I'm going to choose to do is to not bring any bus line directly near these 3, because the intention with them is as a transfer mostly. So I'm going to use this station to kind of cover this southern half, we're going to call it. So I'll bring people in and around this area like so, and then I'll use this metro station. Let me just make sure we're on the right road. Okay, it's up here. And I will use it to filter through this area and bring them over this way as well. I am also trying very hard to keep these stops not only off of the main road, but not immediately after the main road as well. So I would not put a stop here, for example. I will put one a little bit further down here and then back. I've done the other 2, and if I position them like this, you can pause and kind of see where everything is trickling in. I've kept all of the stops off of the main roads, and I've covered pretty well every kind of small road area. So now if a person who lives here, let's say in this high density area, can take a bus to this metro station, they can then take this metro station through the loop to this metro station, change over to this metro station, take the loop all the way around up to this metro station, and then take the bus into their job, which is right here. Now, if that sounded like a lot and we want to make long distance travel easier for our Sims, it's certainly possible, and we're going to do so with the final piece of the trifecta, which is trains. Just jumping in here to ask that if this video is helping you, please be sure to give it a thumbs up so that YouTube recommends it to more people who could use the same help. And if you are enjoying the way that I break things down to like the bare basics, be sure to subscribe to the channel because that's sort of my thing. Okay, trains. Trains are in transport and trains. And guess what? I've put them down. You can see them here with the brown. And we're just going to do one train line that will go back and forth. Our train stations are in. This is certainly not the most beautiful placement of a train that I've done, but the train goes along the water side into here and around. I had to go underground. If I had longer and if I had anarchy, I would find a way around doing that, but then it goes into here. And so we have a train line that just goes from this stop to this one, and back the same way. So now if somebody wants to get from this area up here to a job down here, or, you know, vice versa, they can do so very easily. And the last thing to show you that I've done is drawn in a very unattractive walking path between each train station and the closest metro. Certainly you can choose to tidy those up, both the train line and the walking paths themselves, but we are ready to press go. First, let's take a look at our traffic percentage right now. It is 77%. Let's let the city run and see what happens. Look at all these people coming across these walking paths. This is wild, but it's not unexpected because we have 3 whole giant metro lines meeting here. I'm going to guess that this has done its job. I think we are doing well with our transit. Shall we zoom out so that we can get the city in view and check our traffic? Drum roll, please. 85%. Hey, with just having pressed fast forward for a while, I think that's pretty good. We definitely have some red spots. There's a lot of industry up here, right? So we could address those with some other traffic stuff. But as far as our passenger traffic flow goes, I think we've got it. Let's also take a look at the transit lines and see if people are using them all. If when you look at your transit lines, if they are all in use, there's not 0 or very few on any, then you know you've done pretty well. We started with Metro, so let's look at Metro, and it's a pretty even usage across the board. To me, that's a healthy sign, and I'm very happy with those numbers. Looking at the bus lines, these are the ones that sometimes you can have very few people using, but they're pretty good. If I saw like 2 or 3 passengers or even 0 on a bus line, I would say that that's a sign that maybe you've placed that bus line ineffectively. And then finally, I don't expect many on the trains. Yeah, we have 12 passengers using this train line, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, if I was building this city just for fun and not for a video, I probably wouldn't have put a train in there. I think the metro and the buses are effective. But as your city grows in size, let's say we started building down here, definitely having your Sims being able to get up here to down here via one train line rather than a metro bus combo of doom is very effective. I have a video that's on the end screen now where I rank all of the transit options and which ones are my favorite. Be sure to click on that and give it a watch. What are your traffic questions? Put them in the comments below so that I can make a video on them. Thank you for watching, guys. I will catch you next time.